talking Lionel Messi. Thanks to the guys at Bumpy Pitch for this Lionel Messi shirt. I figured it was appropriate I'd wear it today. Recording this the night after I saw Messi and Inter Miami play LAFC at BMO Stadium, quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. It was an LA event. The stars were out. Lionel Richie, Kendall Jenner, one of the Jenners. The Warriors were there, Steph Curry, and on and on. And for LAFC, I've been working for the club since 2018. I haven't seen that place energized like that for a while. So I appreciate the Messi Mania and what it can create for these clubs. That's a big tentpole event. LAFC will move forward, as do many other markets. But based on that and some news that have come out, I figured I wanted to talk about the evolution of Lionel Messi in Major League Soccer. He is the number one ticket item, the main course for MLS on a weekly basis. There is no doubt you can diminish his impact when he started today or what it will do in the future. The idea that there's 18 million Instagram followers on Inter Miami, which is kind of like the number of all other MLS teams combined and the MLS account on its own. When you look at YouTube, when there's an Inter Miami game, you're going to look at 1.5 million viewers, whereas most, for the highlight package, whereas most MLS games will get between 35 to 50, 60, maybe 100K if it's a good game. So it is night and day with regards to what Messi can create and the rest of the league. And Messi certainly is helping the league. But as we look at this, I know Messi, the places that benefit the most are Lionel Messi and Inter Miami. But we'll break that all down. I'll give you some breaking news as well here on the Soccer OG. Like and subscribe. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We're looking to get to 5,000 subscribers. If you're the 5,000 subscriber, I will adorn you with riches and worship. Something nice, okay? So let's get there. Tell your friends. As we get closer to the World Cup, we want to serve you well. Leave a comment. I love to have the discourse. I try to answer every question out there and communicate as often as possible. But, we're all busy, But I'll still try. I'm pretty good at it. Let us get into this. So the Messi circus, for lack of a better word, when it first came in, was hysteria. Everyone had to see him. Kids were losing their mind if they couldn't see him. Parents were losing theirs because they couldn't get their kids to go see him. You saw Messi shirts everywhere. I traveled to Colombia. I traveled to Italy in the past year and a half. Messi shirts for sale, front of the store. Every market you go, every game you play, you saw mostly pink jerseys in there. Great. Great for the bottom line of Inter Miami, Messi, and to a lesser degree, Major League Soccer. But that's a lot of pressure as well for MLS. How do you benefit on Messi? I'm not going to have the answers to that, but we'll look at it because the league will go on without Messi at some point, and it'll be better off, as will Inter Miami, without question. Now, how do they market these games? Remember, everything was a big-time event, and people were losing it if Messi was injured and couldn't play. So we've kind of moved past that. If Messi can't play, tough toodles caboodles. You bought a ticket, tough. Don't take it out on the club. He's a human being. He's not playing every game. That is on you. Go out and see a nice MLS game nonetheless. Inter Miami is a pretty good draw without Messi. I know it's not the same. So everyone's had a chance to see him once. Most markets have had him. And, second time around is just not as good as the first. It's to see that person once. So, you still want to see him more than that one time, but you're not going to pay $5,000 for a ticket or what have you. Now, the other thing is, when you look at the stadiums, they would always knock it up into the NFL stadium. An MLS stadium has 20,000 seats by and large. They would try and get 70,000. It happened earlier this year in Kansas City, I believe. But if you look at the rest of the MLS schedule, it happens once. The Columbus Crew are having a game in Cleveland's NFL stadium. That's obviously to bring Messi to the masses there, but it's also trying to get fans in Cleveland engaged because maybe they want to be an MLS market one time, as the other two big Ohio cities have MLS clubs, Columbus and Cincinnati. So it's dual purpose, but obviously Messi is going to stir the pot there. But if you look at all the other games that they're going to play in Montreal, in San Jose, at the Red Bulls, they're all playing in their MLS stadium. PayPal Park in San Jose, I'm calling that game between San Jose and Inter Miami, and I know San Jose is doing some big things in and around the arrival of Messi. but they're not sending it to Santa Clara to play in that monster of a building. Their park is what, 16, 17,000 seats? They're keeping it there, and you got to get a ticket. It's not a money grab. You can't fault anyone for trying to do a money grab, but we saw more of that in years one, half year, this full second year, and now here in year three. But those push ups to the big stadium slowing down in a big way. The access to Messi, and Messi as well, we're going to talk about what he has done, because he has done some things to show his commitment to the league 100%. Some news that broke and I wanted to share about Yassine Chuko, who is the visible security guard. I think he's like Israeli or North African special forces, guy you don't want to mess with. And he is still on Inter Miami's staff, but he has been sidelined by the club. He wasn't happy about it. He said in just 20 months, 16 people have already jumped onto the field. I saw it at a handful of times where he was with in Europe prior. There's a huge problem here. I'm not the problem. Let me help Messi. And his presence is a distraction. It's getting better. Fans are still going to run on, but one ran on at BMO Stadium. One guy at the end, and he was quickly quelled. I don't want to see all these things on the sideline distracting me from the game because Messi's there. And I hope human beings will use more common sense. But Chuko is a necessary line item removed. He can't be hovering there and running out. We got to hope this slows down, which it is. It's not as bad as it was in the years past. And we can't have Chuko kind of sitting there ready to go. It creates a circus environment. And the quicker we can get Messi to normalcy, the better it is for him, the better it is for Inter Miami, the better it is for the league, the better it is for the viewers at large. That is a sign that I think they did their data and they go, look, we can't have this guy floating around covering Messi. It's weird. It's weird optics. We understand why we do it, but we feel that Messi is safe here, safer than he was. And I can't talk out of turn there. I don't know what Lionel Messi's life is like. I imagine security-wise, it must be unbearable not being able to walk in places, worrying about your family. That is all in play because he is one of the 2 or 3 most famous people on the planet. And he lives here in the United States and he plays in soccer, which is good news for that. So that is slowing down now, and it's allowing Lionel Messi to be a player, to settle into his life, to avoid the distractions for him and Inter Miami. Recently, we always wanted to know about his commitment. And look, at the very beginning, he's still trying to play for Argentina. I think secretly we all thought he was going to retire after the 2022 World Cup. He's not going to retire, by the way. Lionel Scaloni was in attendance at BMO Stadium watching that game. He looked really tired. I'm sure he was jet-lagged, having come from World Cup qualifiers. And he probably travels a fair bit. But we hoped that he wasn't going to be, I wouldn't say hoped. We'd always like to see Messi in there. But for MLS's sake, maybe he is taking a back seat from the national team. And I think he thought about it, but now he says he's still good. This last window, he was injured. But I think even injured, he may have not been fully committed with Inter Miami during that stretch. Maybe he would have gone and hoped for the best. I don't think he's done that in the past. But these 2 international games, which were huge, it was against Uruguay and Brazil, the 2 biggest rivalries for Argentina. And Argentina has qualified for the World Cup now. But Messi didn't go. By the way, Argentina looked better. Not better, but they looked like a World Cup favorite without him. And at some point, they have to pivot away from that as well. So Messi's going to play in the 2026 World Cup. That's part, I think, of his commitment to being here in the United States. But Argentina doesn't need him. I mean, Argentina is probably better off moving on without him so that these new players, Julian Alvarez and Enzo Fernandez, could start expressing themselves and take Argentina to new heights. And they're not going anywhere. They're going to be a world power. They're going to compete for World Cups every time around. But Messi stayed here. He got healthy, and he got back on the field, and he's got to play in these CONCACAF Champions Cup quarterfinal games. So LAFC won. Second leg is in Miami. I think the betting averages will feel that Miami can still get through. It's an important tournament for Inter Miami, who are starting to try and build and win trophies. They have the Supporter Shield, but they probably should have some more by now, and the Leagues Cup, of course. But they want the MLS Cup, and they want the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Those are the big ones right now in 2025. He knows that, so he is committed to that. He is getting older. He still does amazing things, but more and more you see him being blanketed or not being as effective. I don't think he's going to put MVP credentials up like he did last season. Famous last words, certainly from someone like me. I just don't see it. And then obviously Luis Suarez, this is a team that's playing a lot of games. It's going to take a toll. But he needs to make it normal about him. But Messi, I think, wants to be that club player and move forward with Inter Miami and see the last days of his career, which are going to come soon. Maybe sooner than you think. Now, he is under contract for MLS until December of 2025. So the decision of where he can play another year. My gut says he's going to end his career at Barcelona. He wants it. I'm positive of that. Barcelona wants it. Now, the financial regulations that are around Barcelona will prevent it, if anything. But I think, well, where there's a will, there's a way. They'll find a spot. My gut says that 2026, as much I would like to see Lionel Messi here in MLS, he will be a Barcelona player. Unless those financial regulations in La Liga, which are very tight, remain tight. If those get loosened up one bit, I think that's where his next step is going to be. And it makes sense, right? The romantic in you says he should be at Barcelona. If that doesn't happen, he plays another year, great. I think that will be it. And it'll be closure. I mean, this is a man, he loves football, but he's committed so much. Maybe he does a ceremonial year or 6 months with Newell's Old Boys in Argentina. He will be the last year with MLS, or he would do the swan song there at Barcelona. What happens now to MLS when that happens? We got to prepare for it. The era of the superstar player in MLS, while it's been very important for the league, when you talk about David Beckham and Lionel Messi and his Inter Miami band of brothers and Thierry Henry and Didier Drogba, that's still going to happen, but it has to take a secondary place. This league is moving to developing in its own stars, developing young players so that it can sell abroad and have those guys come back full circle. The guys that are going to be the stars are going to be guys like Denny Bouanga and Miguel Almiron and Lucho Acosta. And there will be new stars to go. But the idea of we're going to bring in Cristiano Ronaldo and Antoine Griezmann and Kevin De Bruyne, which all of this could very well happen. Whether it happens or not, I don't think that is MLS's best bet. The development of these players is legit, and I think that's what's going to move forward with it. While you sprinkle in some star power as well, because the league needs it. Inter Miami, with all these new social media followers, those people aren't going to go away. Some of them will, not all of them. Once you make a connection, it stays. And I think Inter Miami is going to have a new stadium. They're going to find new players. They are doing a great job of bringing in some new, interesting players. That will remain. MLS will be fine. I don't think we have to panic too much for Messi, but we have to prepare when he goes. I hope we see him for another year, but my guess is he finds a way to maybe a big hometown discount, calling Barcelona's home, for him to go forward. Interesting conversation. I would love to hear your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a question there, and we'll continue the dialogue as we move forward. Messi, always an interesting topic.